Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Lone Wolf Challenge. In the last episode, after Takir crafted a love story between our painter and our explorer, we discovered a brand new creature, a brand new wanderer who actually has the ability to harvest all of those poison paints. Her way of harvesting them is a little bit safer than Casas. She actually doesn't get poisoned thanks to her scorpion tail. So she has attracted herself quite the following of admirers, and I believe the biggest one is probably Navi herself. Until now, she had only ever known Casas' way, so she actually is a little bit poisoned herself. And I'm sure that her new friend Casas is going to make sure that she takes that healing fruit as soon as it grows back. She could definitely use a little bit of its healing powers. So until then, I guess we're going to leave all of the harvesting to Casas. And thanks to her nimble fingers, she can actually collect quite a few of these berries in one swipe. So she should be able to help us restore our food supplies too, or perhaps more appropriately, our paint supplies, because they have been dwindling as of late. Vankir did just finally give us some rain though. Now all of our berry bushes are nice and bright and happy again. We have plenty of berries to go around. But I think that may have actually broken Kaz. Something we missed at the end of the last episode is that he did end up passing away. He finally succumbed to all of the poison coursing through his veins. But I wonder if a little bit of it may have just been the heartbreak too, because all of his hard work just went down the drain as soon as Vankir got involved. So now his remains are laid to rest right next to the rock where he painted his mural. But I feel like there's still more that we could do for him. And one of the ideas that you guys had to do with the murals that we paint on these rocks, just like Takir used to do in his day. So I think that's all going to come down to Rovan, since he does have the connection with the pattern painter. And once he returns with his little family in tow, we'll see if he can set Casas' remains to rest officially. But for now, I guess it's just time for you to teach your babies how to paint as well as you can. So you better go ahead and scoop up all of these berries. Especially since we know that all of your little bunny friends are still skittering around here somewhere. Now his son Apex actually has the ram horns just like Hare, so he should be strong enough to take down the bunnies in one swipe. He might actually end up being one of the very few hunters in the tribe. So many of our tribe mates right now are too weak to do the job, so they're not too interested in bunny collecting. And aside from that, with the bunnies' connection to Takir, they're probably worried that hunting down the bunnies will bring ruin to their tribe. Just like Hare in his current unfortunate circumstances, which is why he's outcasted just like Litzy. I mean, granted, Litzy isn't quite as bad as Hare. She isn't big-headed like he is at least. She's more of a self-proclaimed outcast. What with her lack of patterns, she thinks that she's cursed. In a way, she almost harkens straight back to Canvas. You remember he thought that he was cursed thanks to Sila's opinions on him, so it's almost like history is repeating itself again. But these two have found a little bit of comfort in each other, and I think that in this episode, as long as we can find them a good place to settle down, maybe they would be willing to start a family together. I feel like for sure, we're going to have to look for some place with plenty of fruits and with plenty of meat for them to hunt too. I'm sure that Hare would still like to get his paws in some of those bunnies, or maybe even those pesky guardian moles. I suppose he'd probably gravitate in this direction. He did enjoy hunting the moles in his previous territory after all, so maybe hearing that mole in the grasses would draw him near. We'll have to make sure that it doesn't notice you though, so if we bring Litzy up this way, maybe we can have you sneak around and grab it from behind. There we go, plenty of meat for you to share with her. I'm sure she will appreciate it. She's probably feeling quite tired anyways from that long journey that she took. And then of course the added strain of her running off into the grasses like this. She could definitely use a good place to rest her head. So let's bring her a little bit deeper into the grasses, and I guess we'll see what you two can discover. Nobody else has been brave enough to venture into the swamplands, so maybe you two are going to change that. Oh, definitely. There's the roots down here too. Yeah, that is definitely where Litzy is going to head next. I wonder what Vankir would think of the swamps. I mean, we typically find quite a few poison berries in the swamplands, and berries are berries, so I'm sure they'd be under his influence. Maybe the poison berries are even considered to be one of Vankir's greatest gifts. They are very hard to pick from after all, so maybe only those who are truly blessed by Vankir are able to use them to survive from. So it'd be like a great honor if the tribe was able to collect many of these poison berries. But for now, Pudding, I think you're just going to have to settle for these sweet berries next to your nest. We'll have her gather those up before the bunnies do. We might even have her trail after her mother pretty soon, because I'm sure Ramiko could use the help. We'll have her gather up the shriveled up berries next to the savannas, and then maybe grab from this berry bush too, because her son Kovu is a little bit distracted right now. He's trying to fight his way through all of this tall grass, and once he finally does, I guess he would light up the way for Rovan to get back with his family. And as for this rogue male back here, this was the one that Adrienne fell in love with. Maybe you could try leading him a little bit further away from the tribe, just like you were planning to. We'll have him gravitate in this direction. Ooh, toward the stumps? Interesting, we have another stump that we can call off of right next to the safe haven. This is where Adrienne wants to go next. She's hoping to start her family out here, away in the seclusion of the oak trees, because the rest of the tribe probably won't find her that far. They probably don't even realize where she's run off to. Most of them may have even forgotten about the wild mushroom and Aqualo. Everyone except for Kimmy-Lyn, of course. Kimmy-Lyn probably misses her big sister dearly. In fact, pretty much everybody in her family has either died off or left with somebody else, so she is probably feeling very lonely indeed. And I'd imagine that she would gravitate toward the shores, since that was where her mother left to roam. She might not have the water body, but she does still feel its pull. She feels the influence of the water. So let's bring her down here to scout in the waves, and we'll see if maybe she can find some shells for somebody to pick up in the future. Probably cease in her nimble fingers. Now Navi, since you don't have any berries to pick over here, and since I'm sure you would want to impress your new friend, let's have you start making your way toward the other berry bushes. You could bring Cease up this way, so she'll be able to pick from these poison berries as soon as we skip the day. Maybe that's how she would notice that Casas passed. And once upon a time, she did actually have eyes for him too. She had a little bit of a crush on him in her childhood, but things have definitely changed now that Cease is around. She still appreciates him for everything that he taught her, so she will need some time to mourn and move on, but aside from that, I think we are all out of turns again. So let's go ahead and skip the day. I think we'll go back to our little swampland explorers, just to make sure that no Berryinas are lurking out here. This does seem to be where most of the danger pops up, so let's just sniff around just in case. Everything looks quiet so far? Alright, I think you guys are still safe. And how about your little rogue male friend? I'm not sure if he's following you, but as long as you don't get too far away, I'm sure he'll pick up your scent again. You are super, super close to that oak tree too. Maybe we should just have her go straight over. That way she can have her babies sooner rather than later. Oh my gosh, and there's a permanent nest over here? Oh, we don't even have to worry about finding extra nesting material. We can just set you up right inside that permanent nest, with tons and tons of food for you to collect. See, these safe havens are always the best places for a tribe to wander to. It seems like there's always the best resources over here. Since she is going to have her baby on the next turn, why don't we go ahead and set up her mutation menu? I know that Takir has no influence over the rogue males, but at least he could have a little bit of a say in Adrienne's traits. So she's rolled a 1 and a 12, which is both the chestnut brown fur and the mask as well. Now I don't think the rogue male would have any patterns in his traits at all, so this baby is very likely to be blank. But that must be Takir's way of showing that he does appreciate this family between Adrienne and the rogue male, just because he's offering up one of his greatest blessings. The mask is a very high honor for Takir's followers. Now maybe it's time for you to go ahead and pack up all of these old nests too. That way some of our other expectant mothers might have a place to set up their nests. I'm sure that Litzy is probably going to need some extra nesting material for that, so she's definitely going to appreciate your hard work. Now as for Apex, I can definitely see him getting a little bit distracted. Maybe he would even hear the bunnies skittering away over on the other side of the stream, and that would then lead him straight toward Adrienne too. So while we don't have any bluebirds in our skies, it would actually be safe for him to jump into this tall grass, losing himself in the darkness, as his father is far too distracted by the paints. Maybe he would call Loki over to the berry bush. That way he can practice grabbing the berries from those thick leaves. And now that Kovu finally has his third and final gem, it should be much, much easier for him to dig out those pathways. Let's bring him right up here, and then we'll have him clear out the grasses behind him. He's just a couple of steps away from finally breaking into Rovan's territory. So in no time at all, he should be back to his old work again. Now it looks like the healing fruit may have grown back too. Perhaps a little gift from Casas, just like how his mother gave him the gift of the healing fruit right as she passed away. So I'm sure that Cease would notice that. Let's have her go ahead and grab up the rest of the poison berries, and then maybe she could help by guiding Navi back toward the healing fruit. We'll have her settle down next to it and call out as loud as she possibly can. And that would give you a good opportunity to mention the other berry bush that you know of, as soon as you're feeling in tip-top condition again. I guess this one would be a little bit more special to her anyways, since this is what Kaz used to paint his murals. But if there's anybody that Navi would be willing to share it with, it would definitely be Cease. She just wants to make sure that her new friend understands the importance that this place holds. She might be a paint collector, but she doesn't really seem like much of a painter to me. So to be honest, she probably doesn't really understand all the fuss that our tribe puts up about these paints. She understands that they are very, very delicious, of course, but she doesn't really get why they're such a sacred object. Her family only ever used them in stews, and they certainly never used them to paint their fur. So needless to say, these two have quite a bit to learn from each other. Now let's see. I think you had a couple of tasty little morsels to gather up over here too. Let's bring her a bit deeper into the darkness so she can grab this fruit for us. And I wonder if this would even be a good spot for us to settle down and have a family. I mean, it's a pretty tight squeeze. If we do have any dangers spawning in here, it might be difficult for us to get around thanks to all of these thorns. But at the same time, it might offer a good barrier from the danger. And since Hare is so versed in Berryina attacks, he's probably thinking of the swampland as more of a fortress. So let's have you two start making your home right here between all of the thorns. Now the only problem with their family is there is the possibility for sickness. I believe they both have immunity gene A, so we might possibly risk sick babies here, but we really don't have much of a choice. If we want to try to keep that claw on our babies, since Hare is the only one who has it right now, we're going to have to breed him, and he doesn't have any other suitable partners. It is very, very tricky to navigate around immunity genes sometimes, so we'll just cross our fingers and hope for the best. Hare has rolled a 17 and a 12, which should be the beige pattern color, as well as the mask again. I guess the mask is a popular trait from Takir today. And let's see, roll the 28 and an 8, which is the pattern shape A, along with the black fur color. So maybe her babies will be able to blend into the shadows of the swamps, which will definitely help us if we do decide to bring one of their babies to the jungle next. I'm still thinking that the next challenge is probably going to be Vankir's, even though I suppose Comet would be a little bit more fitting for the jungles. But the two could always work together in our story, just like Vankir and Takir are here. So go ahead and breed with Litzy, and then we'll have her plop down her nest right next to the roots and the thorns. And on the next turn, she should be able to scoot right over to that second root that she found. Now I suppose you're probably going to want to do a spot of hunting. If there are still bunnies skittering around these swamplands, you are simply not going to let it stand. I think that's actually the last of our turns too, so let's go ahead and skip the day right away, and then as soon as your very first baby is born, we'll have you go ahead and snag up that bunny for us. Oh no, it looks like she is sick, but she does have the ram horns. Oh, and she has the water body too? Well, that's awfully lucky for you, little one. You can dive into the ocean and catch some good fish for us. Oh, and wait a second. I thought she had the black fur, but it turns out she has the melanism trait instead. So she was meant to have the mask pattern, one of Takir's greatest blessings, as we just said. But instead, it's almost like he's spilled his ink on her or something. She is completely dark. Oh, how mysterious, and how perfect for this family too. This family of outcasts. I wonder what they think of that. It's not so much a blank canvas as a completely destroyed one. Well, the next name on my list is Sky. So you two certainly don't seem to mind. Welcome to our tribe, little one. I'm sure you're going to be diving straight into those waters before you even grow your third gem. She seems like she's going to be very ambitious, just like her parents. Or rather, just like Hare. I suppose Litzy isn't known as the most ambitious of her tribe mates, but Hare is for sure. So come on over here, Litzy. Oh, no way! We had a permanent nest right next to all of these roots? Oh, that is such a bummer. We didn't even have to build a nest for you, Litzy. Well, go ahead and scoop up this root for us. And then if there are still no bluebirds in our skies... Yeah, everything is still looking pretty quiet. I guess that means we could have you stray a little bit further away from your daughter. It's probably for the best anyways. We don't really want you getting too sick. So we'll have one more chance for them to have a healthy baby together. Let's bring Hare straight over to her side, and on the next turn we'll make sure that they breed again. Are there any more bunnies hopping around out here? No, it looks like this area is kind of quiet right now, so I guess it's a good thing that we can turn our attentions to the water again. I mean, not only that, but Sky also has some pretty good eyesight, so she won't have to worry about struggling like her father does. Now, let's make sure that we're picking up our berries over here too, before those pesky bunnies get involved. A couple more for you, Rovan, and then we'll have you scoot ahead of your son. Oh dear. It looks like Adrienne's rogue male love may have found them instead. Oh, that is not good for your family, little one. And Adrienne's just about to pass away too. She's actually going to be leaving her baby out here all alone. Maybe it's a good thing that Apex has taken notice. Oh, and now that they have their 2 gems, I actually wanted to think about changing their gem color. Since this is basically a whole new branch of the family, Rovan isn't even related to anybody in our tribe. We should probably change their gem colors to represent a different branch. So to use a completely different color, something nobody else is currently wearing, we'll go ahead and change their gems over to this golden color. I think that would be pretty fitting against their current fur colors anyways. It blends in perfectly with Apex's golden fur. So with your new gems, little one, go ahead and dive into the stream, and then jump straight back up right next to Adrienne's side. Now I'm sure he probably heard those bunnies and that's what he was headed toward, but this should help put Adrienne's mind at ease. If her mate won't be here to take care of her baby when she passes, then maybe she could at least gain the trust of Apex instead, and ensure that he'll make sure her baby is safe and sound. So why don't you go ahead and clear out a little bit of the grass around here? Maybe lighting up the way toward the bunnies for him, that way he should be able to chase them quite easily. And then we'll go back to Loki, who I'm sure is very eager to get to the rest of the tribe. He's probably heard plenty of stories about you guys, and he wants to do his part too. He wants to show you what an excellent berry collector he is. So go ahead and clear out the very last of this grass for us, and then you can gently nudge Loki out to the front. We'll bring him right here, and I guess he's going to stumble straight into Romiko. Well, you're going to be pretty surprised to see this bright little Cheeto Puff. He probably just wanted to grab those extra berries. And did we unlock the nimble fingers there? Let's just take a quick peek. I'm going to assume that was probably the nimble fingers, since that's what we were collecting when it unlocked. It's not something that our current tribe would be able to make use of, since they can't put any of those useful genes in their mutation menus. Now, you better turn back for home, Mr. Rogue Male. I know you're a little bit confused with your mate being so far away from you, but if you creep into our territory, they are not going to let you stick around. They are not all quite as friendly as Adrienne is. Oh my goodness! Wait a second, and we even have another healing fruit back here too? Oh my gosh, it must be Apex. He can smell deeper into the grasses thanks to his big nose. Good thing we brought him over there, otherwise we probably wouldn't have even noticed that thing. So we have quite a few healing fruits scattered about this place. Maybe Navi could heal the rest for damage if she travels there, but I'm sure that's really only going to happen if Cease goes with her. It'll only happen if Cease insists. She's not so willing to leave her side, especially after Cas passed away when she was so far. So let's have her guide Cease straight over to the poison berries by the rock, and we'll have her go ahead and collect her first bunch. Then I suppose, Navi, maybe you should stand guard next to this berry bush. You'll still be right next to your beloved Cease, of course. You could maybe even try to dig up some of these roots, but that should ensure that the bunnies won't get their greedy paws in at first. Let's bring Pudding down here for now. We did want her to do a little bit of training with her mother, but it might be better if she stays over here for the moment, just so we can work on gathering our paints again. Maybe Kimmy-Lyn would insist otherwise, since she's not having very much luck with the shells in the tide pools. She probably figures that it's a bit of a lost cause. Maybe she would come on up here instead and offer to watch over this land. That way Pudding can actually get back to her family. Kimmy-Lyn knows how important family is after all, and she probably doesn't want Pudding to feel cursed like she does. So let's have her scoot into the grasses, maybe pick up a little bit of the extra stuff so she can really see those bunnies coming, because it seems like this is where they're mostly hiding right now. So are we all out of turns again? I think we're ready to see what the baby between Adrienne and the rogue male is going to look like. I would imagine that there won't be too many surprises. He's going to have the derps now, he's going to have one of those deformed paws, and of course he's going to have absolutely no patterns on him, but Adrienne loves him all the same. And you know, he kind of is carrying a little surprise. It looks like he inherited the big ears. Well, that's not too bad. That way he'll be able to hear all the little bunnies coming. He could actually help Apex hunt the bunnies around his home, since he can hear them from a further distance. Now, as far as his name goes, the next name on my list is Toothless, which is so terribly fitting. He might not look much like Toothless the dragon, but with all those little snaggle teeth sticking every which way, I think that's a pretty fitting name for his mother to give him. Maybe it's even because he doesn't seem quite as strong as Apex, so the Toothless name is more like a lack of hunting skill. But he's going to thrive in a completely different way, and I'm sure that Adrienne understands that. Now, I'm not sure that she's going to be able to pick up those berries before she passes. She only has 3 turns to make. So instead, let's have you come on over here and try... Oh, you could pick from this berry bush instead? Excellent, and even though we have a little bit of a drought hanging over our heads right now, thanks to all of Apex's grand hunting, it seems like the bunnies haven't touched it yet. So your baby is going to have plenty of food to eat. Oh, despite not having his father? But wait just a second, is there actually a little frog hopping through your swamps right now? Oh my gosh. Well, let's make sure that Litzy definitely breeds with hair. Oh, perfect. It looks like she's coming out to investigate the baby. She's probably worried about poor little Sky because she's so sick and she's on her own. She's probably like, you two? How can you even sleep at night, leaving your sick baby all on her own like this? Oh, she even has the same name as Grandma Anna. That is adorable. And she has the toxic body too, which gives her some pretty interesting colors. I remember one of you said that Takir would probably like the toxic body, just because it offers him more colors to work with. So this definitely seems like a pretty grand gift from him. She has 2 velvet paws too, so she's very, very sneaky, despite her webbed feet, of course. She is the sneakiest little frog that our tribe has ever seen. So let's again make sure that hair definitely breeds with Litzy, and then I guess we'll bring him over here next to his baby. And if she makes herself known again, if she doesn't run away... Oh, it looks like she might be skittering off toward a different part of the tribe. Maybe she was just disgusted with the way that Hair was taking care of his family. Yeah, I think our little frog friend is hopping away. Maybe Hare would go chasing after her? I mean, if he saw her nosing around his baby, there's no way he'd just let her leave. I kind of feel like Sky would probably toddle out toward her too. She's probably quite curious. She was a little bit more motherly than even Litzy was toward her, so maybe she wants to see what she can learn from this little frog creature. Not that Hare would ever put up with that. I'm sure he would probably try to drag her away. We'll have him use his last turn to claw away at the grasses around her. That way she can't go sneaking off in the shadow of this stranger. Geez, it almost seems like our little frog is trying to steal their baby away. Maybe she really does think that she can take better care of them than Litzy and Hare can. Oh no, Rumiko! It looks like Takira's bunnies are invading, so this is your last chance to grab as many of these berries as possible. Let's have Loki try to grab them before the bunnies. Yeah, he would probably brag that he is much, much faster than Takira's bunnies, so he can grab all of those paints for them no problem. So that would leave Rumiko to search for some different berries to collect from. And let's have Pudding finally join with her mother. That way you two can work together to find some of those old food sources. I kind of wonder if the bunnies have completely taken over this land. Let's have you guys move back toward this old nest, and I guess you can survey the damage. Yep, it looks like there are plenty of little bunnies out here. This berry bush is completely devoured, and all of our little shriveled up ones too. I'm not sure if you're going to find much food out here after all, but at least you guys can try to gather a couple of berries on the next turn. I'm kind of tempted to have Kovu stay right here. He's actually doing a pretty good job of keeping the rogue male out of our land, and I think that's because he's creating a barrier right at this gate. We have the rock here, we have a berry bush, and then we have Kovu. So there's no way that this rogue male can get past him to the heart of the tribe. So we can just leave him to live his happy, free life out here in the darkness as we bring Rovan back to the tribe itself. So let's settle him down right next to the rock again. And with the help of Cease, of course, as she gathers up all of those poison paints, maybe we could have Rovan paint a mural of Casas on this rock. It would be a great way for the tribe to remember him and all of his hard work for the artists, and I'm sure that Navi would appreciate that very much. So let's have her do her best to find a couple of little extra berries too. Any berries that Takira's bunnies haven't stolen already, and then we should be free to go ahead and skip the day one last time, and maybe see what the final baby between Litzy and Hare is going to look like. Before we skip the day, let's just see if that little frog is still around here somewhere. Nope, it looks like she has skittered off into the darkness. But I'm sure that Sky is going to try her hardest to track her down, especially since her father is now passed. That leaves her free to do what she pleases. For Litzy has had a baby who actually appears to have some sort of markings. She has the mask, and since it is pattern-shaped deer, I think that means that she's actually wearing the panda patterns too. Excellent, so Animeme's influence remains as strong as ever in this branch of the family. Her name is going to be Jade. Welcome to our tribe, little one. And I'm sure with that water body that you're sporting too, you're going to be just as eager to go diving into the ocean. Though since she doesn't have the claw, I wonder if maybe she would be more useful on land. Maybe her mother is going to try to steer her toward the roots instead, because goodness knows we could use that for the food. But I know for sure that Sky is going to stray. She can only think of one thing, and that's that beautiful purple creature that she saw when she only had one gem to her name. So in the next episode, Sky will go seek out her motherly phantom. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!